Hello and welcome to the third MotoGP Fantasy Preview Live of the year. Yes, that's right. It means it's time for the Argentina GP, a place we haven't been for 3 years. So this weekend, it's going to be a little bit of a step into the unknown for many of the riders and many of the teams. And so to detail exactly what we can expect or try to figure out what we can expect for this upcoming weekend, we've got a very, very special guest indeed, a six-time champion, world champion, I should say, in Max Biaggi. We'll bring him on very, very soon. But firstly, my name is Jack Gorson. Welcome along to this live then. And before we dive into the MotoGP fantasy part of this live, let's bring in our guest, as we do say, Max Biaggi. So, ciao, Max. How are you? I understand that you're doing quite well, but picked up a little bit of a cold yesterday.
Yeah, hi, hi everyone. Yeah, a little bit catch cold. I'm fine. I'm fine. So a little bit excited about to do this MotoGP Fantasy first time for me, but you will explain me some more, about it.
Well, it seems that you know exactly what to do anyway, and already got a few ideas of who's going to be going into your team. Of course, long-standing relationship with Aprilia there, as we can see on your T-shirt as well. Won a few championships for them. But coming into this weekend, Max, it's a little bit of a step into the unknown. Argentina is quite a unique track, a difficult track, quite a fast one. Is there anyone that kind of springs to your mind that could go quite well in Argentina?
Yeah, it's very spectacular track, very fast, and the reason that we go there not very often, it makes the riders a little bit tricky track. This they don't test a lot in this track. It's all quite new, and it's nice because sometimes even a rookie can be a fast and make surprise to everyone. So looks like. Of course, the Ducati and Ducati riders are very strong indeed. Okay, now Marquez is out of the game for this race, but I will say also Fabio Quartararo with Yamaha. Maybe it's not the perfect track for them because it's too fast. But I will say, if I have to choose, I will say Ducati rider. And you want a name or?
Maybe we can come on to the names in just a moment as we look at actually
All
who we're
right.
going to put into our team. But certainly, you've already mentioned some of the names that people will be expecting. Of course, unfortunately, we don't have Marc Marquez with us this weekend. But Honda, from your opinion, Max, it looks as though the bike is quite good. Of course, they have a difficult weekend in Mandalika. But coming forward to Argentina, do you expect to see them rebound and be fighting for the podium again?
Yeah, I really hope so for the for the show because from the round one, looks like Honda was really on good shape because Spargaro make a very strong race from all practice was fast and markets too. So then they go to Thailand, it was disaster. So I don't know what there is something that didn't work at all over there. I really hope to see in Argentina some Honda back on the good squad, and yeah, let's see. It's very complicated. When you try to evaluate riders and constructor, you have to wait the European Grand Prix. So that's the one you can tell, they make step forward or not.
Well, very interesting to hear. Of course, the European leg of the season's coming up in just a few races' time. But first, let's dive into the Argentina Grand Prix and also the fantasy team that we do have for us. And speaking of Honda riders, well, we've got two of them in the team at the moment. For the last round, Max, it was actually Randy Mamola that made the changes to the existing team that was from Fabio Di Gianantonio at the Qatar GP. And the team as it currently stands, as you can see there on the screen, is Pol Espargaro and Enea Bastianini as the gold riders, Ducati as the constructor, and then Takaki Nakagami and Alex Rins as the silver riders. Now, initial impressions of this team, Max, of course, you've already mentioned that Pol went really, really well at round one, and then we see Enea Bastianini is still the championship leader at the moment. What's your general impression on this team? Do you think these four riders are going to have a strong weekend, or maybe some will struggle?
Uh, Maybe some of them will be struggle. Again, depends how their bike will work on this track. No, for sure. Paul was fast also during the practice a few weeks ago. Remember in Argentina. So no, it was in Thailand. But I think in this kind of track, Paul can be fast. But we have to see if Honda is working well there. But for sure, Bastianini is the guy who I will put my money on. and also Rins a few years ago make a great race over there, so I remember very well. So yeah, I think the team is well balanced. Depends also how much is our budget, because it's all about the budget.
Yeah, it certainly is. Just before we were coming live, we were just explaining to Max exactly how this MotoGP fantasy game works, and one of the big things was just the conversation of budget. And one of the things with our team, Max, is that we have Ducati, but they're very, very expensive at the moment. They're actually, if we just look down at the constructors list here, they're actually the joint most expensive constructor along with Suzuki. And I do know that you may be thinking of changing the constructor
Yeah,
for someone else.
yeah. Why not? Let's make a cut on budget and goes down to, let me see, 2.7. Yeah, if we choose Aprilia, which can be a good one because they start very well from Qatar, very close to the podium. Maybe it works also good in Argentina. So let's choose that. We can
Okay,
change
so
the
let's
manufacturer, right?
choose. So let's take out Ducati and put Aprilia in. Of course, as Max rightly says, they were very, very close to the podium in Qatar. Actually, their
Yeah.
closest finish to the podium in the modern MotoGP era, I think it was 2.2 seconds. So there's certainly no reason
Yes,
why we won't see
that's true.
Aprilia fighting at the front again here this weekend. So, as you say, Max, rightly so, we've got to look at the budget. And what that's actually done for us is it's given us 1 million of salary on top of what our team value is for our final change. Now, do you want to make another change, or are you happy with the team as it is?
No, of these four, I will make one more change,
Okay.
but we have
Now it's
1 million extra, right, on top.
1 million extra. So our cheapest person is Takaki Nakagami at 2.2 million. So if we were to add those two up, then we have 3.2 million, obviously. 3.2 million could buy us all these people, including Miguel Oliveira, who obviously just went and won the last race. Seems to have got his confidence back as well. Obviously, we can't afford Fabio Quartararo or Joan Mir, but we could afford someone like Darren Binder or Jack Miller, Franco Morbidelli, Alex Marquez. We would just miss out
So
on being able to afford Pecco Bagnaia by 100,000. Aleix Espargaro, obviously, if bringing Aprilia in, he's also going very well himself. Jorge Martin, Maverick Vinales, and every single one of the rest of them on that
yeah,
list. But of course, Marc Marquez is not racing this weekend.
I will take, to be online of what I did, the moves that I did. I want to choose to take Aleix Espargaro,
Okay, Aleix
which is
Espargaro.
the fastest guy on Aprilia. So I think he can do good over there. So let's change
So,
for Taka.
yep, for change for Taka. Okay, so if we change Aleix for Taka, personally, Aleix is in my personal team as well, so I think he's going to go
Oh
well this
yeah,
weekend. Yeah, he is.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also speaking with him, I know he wants to have a kind of revenge because the last Grand Prix it didn't go the way he was expecting. So I think he have an extra effort, so it can work to see him on top group. So that's what we hope.
And so for this weekend, then, Max, obviously you're a rider, you kind of know how it goes when you go to a circuit that you haven't been to for quite a while. Will it be an extra challenge for them coming back to Termas after not being there for 3 years?
Who you're talking about? Which team?
Just all the riders in general, will it be
Ah, yeah, yeah,
even
yeah.
harder for them
So
if they've been away for a while from Termas?
yeah, yeah. I know with the COVID situation, we did a race overseas, and in some way is the difficulties are there, but in some other way you have an extra, you know an extra sprint because you really want to go overseas. You want to race outside of Europe, and touching Argentina. It's a nice country, Latin country. I think everyone loves surrounded. There is a lot of fans, so I think this is an extra power for all riders. So it will be good. I hope the weather will be good for them, so they will have a good weekend.
Yeah, well, as you say, the weather prediction does look actually quite good, so it should be okay for them. And in particular, now a lot of people have been questioning whether Yamaha in particular are going to be up to shape with the likes of Ducati and Honda all season long. Um, Termas is a bit of a track where corner speed is quite an important part. Do you think that Yamaha, even though it's a very fast track, do you think they'll be competing at the top this weekend, or will they be
I
struggling a
think
little bit?
so. Well, I think so. The long streak they don't help. The Yamaha, which is not the fastest bike over there, but as you say, the corner speed is a strong point for them, and there is a lot of long corner where you need to steer to have a good corner speed. That's the strongest point of Yamaha, and in the hand of Fabio Quartararo and Morbidelli, I think they can be very, very competitive. And then, of course, the power is nothing without control. If the grip is not that good, again, Yamaha, maybe they are able to put the power down more easy. So it's all combination from, one thing than the other. But don't forget, and KTM, also Ducati, Aprilia, they all coming up and they're all making better bike from last year. So it will be interesting race to watch, really.
So an interesting race to watch, and obviously you're saying that everyone could be quite strong. Now, one of the things we like to do on these MotoGP Fantasy Lives is kind of put the brain to the test and see who you think this weekend is going to win the race. So if you had to choose one rider that is going to win the race, who do you think it could be?
Let me see if I have to choose one. Already complicated. I choose Miller
Miller. Okay, yeah. Good choice
because
indeed. He's obviously got a good track
yeah,
record at the track. So
but because you remember the race where he start from front with a good tire, so everyone was the wrong tire, so they make a very funny start. Do you remember that?
yeah,
And it
the
was
free empty group places behind.
yeah, but also with the Honda, he was on the podium. I think it can be a very very good track for him, and I would love to see him also there.
Okay, so Miller is the prediction from Max Biaggi. Maybe one that not many expected, but also Miller is Miller, and at any time he can pull it out of the bag and pull off a big performance. So, Max, before
Yeah,
we say goodbye to you, it'd be foolish of us not to ask about the Moto3 team. Of course, your very own Husqvarna team in Moto3. You've had a good but difficult start to the year. Obviously, Sasaki's shown great pace, but just some misfortune. And unfortunately, John as well is picking up an injury. But overall, are you happy with the start, even though it's been a little bit difficult?
yeah, I know. Apart the difficulties, I have to say that it was a nice start of the season with a good surprise. John was fifth, and Sasaki was flying and going for winning until he had the problem with the tires. So it was very promising. Too bad that now John is out for injury, and hopefully Sasaki is the only rider who races now in Argentina. I think he can be up there. He have the pace, and I hope one race sooner or later so they can start to have a podium or maybe GP victory. That's my big hope.
Well, we hope to see it, and we wish the team well, and we also wish you well, Max, recovering from the cold that you picked up in Valencia yesterday. But we'll say
Thank
goodbye
you.
to you, and thank you very much for coming on and choosing this team for us, Max. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, real privilege, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon and see you in the paddock as well.
Sure. Have fun. Ciao.
Thanks, Max. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
A very good look at it. And if we then go over to, sorry, I've clicked on the wrong one. If we come over to this screen here, obviously Max has chosen the team that we did see. I'll quickly go over to show you this team. Bastianini and Aprilia. No surprise there that Max has gone for Aprilia, Aleix Espargaro and Alex Rins, to be honest. And if you're thinking of doing that one yourself, then it might not be a bad shout indeed. Of course, make sure you are signed up to MotoGP Fantasy. There's always plenty going on the MotoGP Fantasy platform. This weekend, it's going to be a little bit of a lottery. And if we just bring you back onto full screen and get involved in the MotoGP Fantasy game, if you go to fantasy.motogp.com and input all your details, you'll be able to sign up there. You can build your own team, your own MotoGP dream team, go to your leagues and you can create your own leagues and join some as well. And you will want to do that because obviously you can challenge your friends. And even if you join the Mottle official league here, you can win a lovely prize at the end of the season. And speaking of prizes, there's plenty of prizes to be had. If you've been playing MotoGP Fantasy since the start of the year, you'll know that there's season competition prizes as well as weekly competition prizes as well. And there you go, as you see in that Mottle League, you'll get a Mottle Superfan experience of one of the races in the 2023 MotoGP season. So that is it from us. I'll quickly sign off and say thank you very much for watching this MotoGP Fantasy Live with myself and MotoGP legend, soon to be MotoGP legend, Max Biaggi. It was a pleasure speaking to him. And this weekend, it really is going to be an interesting one. Make sure you tune in all over MotoGP's social media channels. We'll be covering it live and also on MotoGP.com as well. And before we sign off, I'll give you one quick final look at Max's team, and we'll speak to you next time. Thank you for watching.